Hello folks, I'm Scott Grove here to do another review on a new instrument I got. This is I got real pretty for you today. Good thing we're not in smell-o-vision, huh? Anyway, this is a 1985, the very last year of what is known as the New Orleans years, Gibson designer series bass. Yep, that's the factory paint job, black on the back. Then you got this thing going. Okay. So yeah, right before Gibson sold out in 1985, they finished making these big old honking monsters. So to find a Gibson Explorer bass in any kind of good condition is relatively difficult, but to find this one is pricey and nearly impossible. But groovy acts, and I'll show you just how groovy. But thing is, the way that it is right now is the way that it was just sent to me, and they said, hey, we'll put a brand new set of strings on it. But little did I know that they would put a set of $70 Roto Sound flatwound strings on this thing. So I'm going to change strings halfway during the review and put some Elixir Polyweb strings on here. No, they don't make them anymore. Elixir only makes the nano webs now, and they just announced during what would be the newest, as of this filming, 2012 NAMM show, that they'd be putting out some new bass strings, but they're going to suck as well because, yeah, they're a different alloy, but they are still using only the nano webs, not the poly webs, which will be the good ones, which I'll put on halfway during this review. Okay, to show you what real bass strings sound like. But at the same time, you can see what these dang near $100 flat wound shitty strings sound like. Okay, so anyway, in the meantime, let's let you see the bass like I always do. Also, as you might have noticed, I've turned off all the comments to all my videos, which I will continue to do from here on out because I just simply don't want to hear from anybody. My friends, yeah, I like to hear from you, and you know how to find me. And I'll answer your stuff just probably once or twice a month because I really have to get back to making lesson videos. So I can't sit here and just argue all day with every blow-hardened metalhead that comes my way that wants me to talk to them all day long. Anyway, so I'll shut up about that and get to the actual reason I'm here, is to talk about the bass. I'll let you hear it, sure, but I'm here to talk about it more than anything. Okay, there's your serial number, made in 85, big old huge Gibson tuners like they always used, huge Explorer headstock. Okay, and as always, you can tell from the first number being an 8 and then the fifth number being the 5 that it was made in 85. All the other numbers, they will tell you what day it was made and the batch number, the actual number that the bass was made that day, what instrument it was, if it was the 385th instrument that they happened to make that day. It's all online. Google it. It'll tell you how to crack the Gibson serial number code. Okay, one thing to tell you about this bass, you'll see here something I actually enjoy, which they actually did right as far as the Scott Grove book of things. You got a metal nut, okay, so that's a beautiful thing, and you have a big brass nut on there. Okay, the strings aren't going too far wacky out of the way, so you're not having any serious tuning instability at all. A huge rosewood fingerboard. You talk about long scale. This is as long as it gets. I can't fit this whole bass on camera unless I'm way back here. It's the biggest bass you'll ever find. Okay, and I'm burning DVDs here, so one of you guys will own that one that I'm changing out right now shortly. Okay, so the paint job is cool, except for the fact that it is nitro, which is a typical Gibson bullshit thing. So I know you guys like some of you guys like nitro, but I hate it, so I'm going to bitch about it. Reason being, if you can get in here, or if I can get in here and show you the actual condition of this thing, there you go, that's finish checking. The whole bass looks like this, actually. Everywhere you look, all the cracks in the finish, and it's everywhere. It's not just in a couple places, it's all over the entire bass. So just know that yes, all this finish checking that everybody seems to desire. I mean, look how horrible that paint job is. Gibson does the world's shittiest paint jobs, and they use the world's crappiest nitro, and all their axes turn out looking like shit like this does. Okay, so let your new guitars get as old as this 85 and it will look like that. Now you get a guitar that has a good poly finish and the same thing like one I had built. Now get a load of the color that you have right now on the Gibson bass. Here comes my guitar. Yes, this bass was this color when it was new. Yes, it was white. Now that's a finish, folks. That's your good old poly finish right there. And that stays white, and that will be white until the end of time. But there's your actual finish differences, and this guitar was actually inspired from a Ibanez Destroyer. Gibson kind of stole that finish from Ibanez, actually. So Gibson was not the first people to do this paint job. They were all right about the same time, but yes, Gibson was the second one to come around and do it. So that is that. This is I have them hanging next to each other actually on my wall, just to kind of have people go, well, you got a yellow one and a white one, and then I get to tell them the story of why it's so horrible. Okay, now back to what is cool about the bass. The bridge is brilliant. Every bass should have a bridge like this. You'll notice, as soon as I can hold still long enough, that the saddles are actually roller saddles. Okay, so these are actually rollers, which are beautiful, so there's no friction period right there. And if you want your string spacing to be like over here or whatever, you just simply, while the string is not on the roller, either roll it one way or the other and it will go across the screw that's holding the roller on. Okay, so you just adjust where you actually want the string to be at, located on your neck for your playing style. If you want them closer together or further apart or whatever, you can have them like this if you want, right in the middle of the neck, or you can have them like that. So brilliant bridge, high mass, big sustain, all that. So 100% kudos for the bridge. Great pickup still. You see the Gibson logos on both pickups. Okay, you got one volume for each pickup and a master tone. Other than that, you just plug in right down here at the bottom. You know, gets in the way, but you can stick it up here in your strap if you want, and it looks like that. So again, nobody's ever really smart about where they put the output jack on a bass, or on any axe actually. The back, you have just the one cavity cover to control that, so there's no three-way toggle switch. You just turn up each pickup as much as you want it. Okay, speaking of which, I will turn the bass on 10. I'm going through just a little Hartke Kickback 12 amp, so it's just got one single 12-inch aluminum speaker in it. I will leave the volumes, the tones, everything exactly the same for the flat wounds as I do for the round wound polyweb elixir strings that will be going on here in just a couple minutes. Okay, so let's check out the bass. There's nothing else to tell you about it other than it was just right at the time of the heavy metal thing and the 80s hairband things, and they're trying to look cool. Then the Norlin years were gone and they retooled again, and they are what they are today, which is not much. Norlin years, definitely my favorite. Okay, so here's the bass wide open, everything wide open with brand spanking new flat wound strings. These in 5 minutes will go in the trash. So don't anybody ask me for these brand spanking new, perfectly good flat wound roto sound strings, because they're going in the trash where they belong. So sorry, I throw them away. Okay, so here they are. Here's your A string, just no sustain at all. So this is, okay, let me get this lap steel off the wall so it's one less thing rattling around in the room. We'll hear about 150 guitars at least ringing in this room, but okay, so check this out. Here you are doing, that sounds like most of y'all's strings probably that have just went dead. Okay, so if you want flat wounds and you want them to sound dead the whole time, well, there you go. If you can see the strings themselves, They are very, very flat. There is no winding there for them to ever get any deader. Okay, they are perfectly smooth. They feel like you're just touching nylon strings. A lot of people are like, well, they just don't hurt my fingers as much. It's like, man up, you pussy. Okay, so the reason that these strings were even made to begin with was because of way back in the day when they made the Fender Precision to actually make a bass that could actually be like this instead of stand-up, was so that it would sound like a stand-up bass. Fender P bass had only the one pickup. Well, they were split, but they were still right here. Nothing back here at all, just the one pickup way up here. So it would have sounded about like this. Okay, so just nothing to it at all. It just sounds like a stand-up bass. Okay, and of course there was no such thing as funk. You know, that sounds like shit, but that's what it was supposed to sound like with flatwounds. That was their whole intention, was to emulate a stand-up bass. So if that's the sound you're looking for, I know right now you're yelling at me saying, man, that cocksucker, he, you know, yelling at me about me hating flatwound strings. So anyway, that's what it is. So if you don't like it, please go to somebody else's thing. That's why I discombobulate the comments, because I don't want to hear from you. I really don't. So I don't. So that's the sound of these strings. Let's go to the pickup right here only. Okay, so your middle pickup or your neck pickup, whichever you want to call it, tone wide open. Okay, going to the back pickup only, tone wide open. You guys want to pay $70 for that sound, for those strings? Both together. Check out this great sustain. That's it. That's all you get. Check that out coming back down. It's gone. There's nothing. It's gone. You get. Okay, so that sounds like you've had regular strings on your bass for 30 years and have kept it underwater while you were not playing it and letting the strings rest. Okay, so that's basically what it sounds like. Tone knob off, both pickups on. Okay, so I will come back and show you what this bass can actually sound like, and that it actually is a monster. I've had these before, that's why I know exactly what it's going to fire up and do. Okay, so by the magic of me disappearing and hitting the pause button, I'll be right back and we'll have some real strings on. Okay? Okie dokie, so I'm back, and only thing that I've done is change the strings to the Elixir poly webs, which are now long defunct and will never come back. According to Elixir, they will never make them again. Dumbass people at Elixir have no idea what they're doing. Okay, so now that I've established that, again, I'd mentioned earlier that yes, all the comments will be turned off. I'll leave the comments on for 1 week on this bass, then I will shut it all off, because frankly I'm just sickened by being associated with most musicians and being a part of that anymore. It's just like, from all the comments I usually get, it's just like, musicians are usually just the biggest, I know you're going to say it's me too, but God, what a bunch of asswads most of you are. That's why the comments have been shut off. I'm just tired of hearing, play some fucking metal, dude. Do something with some fucking ball. Play some Metallica instead of that country shit. Shut the fuck up and play some shit, man. It's like, that is the average mentality of a musician right there. That's why I turn you all off and I want nothing to do with most of you. My friends, you can PM me. The rest of you, this is just information. Okay, so the Elixir strings, and yes, I actually polished the frets so they look brand spanking new out of the factory again, instead of torn to hell and rusted like everybody gets them. Amazing how dirty these things come to me. If anybody wants to know, this thing with the original case, it cost me $2,500. via the eBay thing, so that's what they run, even in this condition with which most Gibsons are going to be in, with people who do not pay attention to their humidity levels, blah blah blah, and take them everywhere and just let them crack. If you treat them right, they won't, but 99% of people will not treat their instruments correctly. Okay, so let's get to what this bass actually sounds like with some real strings on it, okay? Again, the other strings were brand new, just put on, and these are brand new and just put on also. Here's the difference. The amp is exactly the same. I never even shut it off. Okay, so here we are. Okay, so yeah, same bass. Okay, so same thing. There's my 12 string over there rattling. So the old 12 string rattles over there whenever there's good strings here. Okay, so that's the difference. Let's go to just the neck pickup only. Tone wide open. Bridge pickup only. Tone wide open. Both together, wide open. Both together with a pick, wide open. Okay, I'm just playing an A. If you want to play an E, okay, so you can see it actually comes to life now. It actually has some kind of a voice to it. So it's a whole different ball game. So it's a great sounding, amazing playing bass. I put the rollers right where I wanted to when I changed the strings, and it is phenomenal. And it will ring forever, way more than any damn brass or bone nut bullshit. Okay, so you have some nice metal against metal, so it's perfect. And like I said, the high mass bridge and everything's metal, roller, everything. You have the classic tuning style tuners here where you don't have any strings hanging off anywhere, so you can't get poked. These are actually the best kind of tuners to have on any instrument in the world. Okay, you just put the end of the string down in there and around they go. Better than locking tuners. Locking tuners, the strings still hang out of your instrument. Best tuners around, this kind. Okay, so there you go, the 1985 Gibson Designer Series Explorer bass, okay, with the nasty nitro, and with the flat-wound roto sound strings safely in the garbage with tonight's lasagna. So they are totally coated with lasagna now, and I was so glad to do it. And again, check that out, man. It just sounds like a bass now. There goes that 12 string again. Now if some of you old geezers out there, and I'm saying this at damn near 50 years old, if any of you old geezers still want that flat wound sound, number one, just let it, whatever strings you're using, sit around for a couple months and they'll sound like that again. Or simply roll your tone knob completely off, shut off every pickup except for the one near your neck, and play again. Okay, hell, play with your thumb. Okay, these still sound better, but if you want that shit sound, that's the way you get it. Okay, so just roll all your high end off, turn everything off on your amp except for your bass. Turn the mids off, turn the highs off, turn everything off that has to do with any kind of high end on your bass. Go for your neckmost pickup and you'll get that shitty old stand-up sound. Okay? There's some people out there can make them sound like $1 million, but most of you ain't going to do it. Not with something like a modern day setup. You could just hear the whole difference. It sounds like a $2,500 bass instead of a $250 Squier bass when we first rolled in here. Okay. Everything in the room rattling. Yeah, there you have sustain all the way through the hole. You hear every last note, unlike the flatwounds. Okay, so there you go. I am out of here. Again, the comments will be posted and you guys can yell at me. Only the good friends will actually be posted. Then everything will be wiped away a week from now, so nobody will be able to learn anything because of a few bad apples out there. People won't get to read all the comments and the answers to some very legitimate questions out there, but it's sad because people have to be the dicks that they are. That's right. I know you think I'm a dick. Look in the mirror, kiddies. Okay, talk to you later. Bye-bye.